Hey guys, my name's Aaron. Here's a little bit of a lesson that I learned today that I wanted to share with you all. When I woke up this morning, I instantly started my day by spilling water. And when I spilled the water, I was very upset. So, if you're somebody who thinks a lot, who can easily have a thought go here or go here, and you're tuned to here or you're tuned to here, what happens when something doesn't go your way, where you spill something and you start your day off that way? Well, when my mindset, when I wake up, when it's already in motion, my mind is already bouncing between future possibilities. It's already bounced between this and that. And honestly, when I woke up, it was my dog who woke me up, and I wasn't too privy of that. So when I spilled the water, obviously, I acted out, and the first thing I had to do was I had to take the carpet and I had to pull it up because I don't want the wood floor to get ruined. I ended up chopping up the carpet and replacing it with a temporary rug. Now, this is something I didn't want to do. Obviously, you can choose how you want to start your day or what you want to do if something happens with that, and you can let it be or do whatever. For me, I chose to completely replace it, and it was uncomfortable. And I say it's uncomfortable because there are things that I'm facing within myself that I know are triggers, but those triggers are outside of me and my state of being, which is what this video is about. My state of being is within me. So anything that happens outside of me, whether I spill water or my dog's barking, really that's just outside of me. I can choose my state of being at any given moment. So this video obviously is geared more towards people who are like ADHD, bipolar, labeled like if you've been labeled as those things, this is probably because you might be able to relate to that snowball effect where if you start your day off, uh you can end up going to a lot of different places. Now that doesn't mean you're broken. In fact, you never were. And I want to put that out there before I go any further. And if you end up focusing on, so let's say you focus on the water that spilled when you start that your day off. If you're focused on that, what happens is you can start your day from that mindset. If I look at the brain as like a resonant tuning fork, where what you do in the morning, how you wake up, which obviously could be influenced by the dreams you have, and there are other things, but the reality is, like, you can choose to change your state of being at any given moment, anytime. And I'm not going to beat around the bush when it comes to that, but if you are one of those people that can wander to here and here, obviously to say that might seem unrealistic or might seem impossible, which I can relate to that too. Now, there are things you can do to kind of foster that ability to be able to tune to a resonant state, what they would call sort of hypnosis, but I wouldn't really go as far as calling it hypnosis because you're really the one that would be doing that. Neurolinguistic programming is a really popular technique. It's probably closer to what that is, but you know, uh, the thing that I really want to hammer is like if you're already bouncing between possibilities, and I'm talking about possibilities from the ADHD mindset because typically a lot of people might live in a linear mindset where in that linear mindset, they might be focused on what they're doing and they might not wander this way or this way, and choose to, they might not be so inclined to choose to focus on something negative and have it snowball. Now, other people, I could be different because I'm not other people. I'm not in other people's minds. So, but from what I've seen, especially over the years, it might be what they call the ADHD mindset. It might be a little bit different, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because being tuned to so many possibilities actually gives you an advantage if you're not tuned to a linear path and you're seeing this and that, um, you're getting, like, if it takes a group of 5 people to complete a project with 5 different perspectives to give you a whole perspective, imagine what happens if you have one person that can see this way and bring that into focus. So it's really a superpower. But the cool thing is, there are things you can do like meditation in the morning, and that's something you can do to kind of zero in that instrument. When I call the brain an instrument because it's essentially a tuning fork. But these things that happen outside of you, your state of being, what I really want to nail down is like your state of being is your choice. You get to choose how you want to feel when you start your day. You get to choose all these things within you. In fact, every state of being exists within you. And sometimes you might need a reminder. So, when I stripped that carpet away and I saw my wood floor, which I haven't seen since 2010, it brought me back to memories and like also insecurities too. I put carpet in my room because I didn't like the wood floor and I thought it was dirty, and I wanted to feel cleaner and I wanted to feel more comfortable. But later in the day, I noticed when I was going to the grocery store, I thought back and I remember being a kid and seeing that wood floor. And when I was a kid, it didn't matter. I mean, I did clean it, but the fact that it was there and there was dirt that would get on it, things like that. And yeah, I would clean it, but sometimes there was little small residue and I would let it build up for a day or two before, or maybe 3, 4, and then vacuum it. Not like an extreme amount, but yeah. But the point is, like, when I came into my room and that dirt and that stuff was there, I still felt safe, and I felt okay, and I was happy. So it's not the wood floor or the dirt, and it's not any of those things outside of me that made me feel insecure. Those are all things that I developed over a course of 10, 20 years. So your state of being, when I let me go back to when I was thinking about being a kid, and I remember laying in my bed. I instantly felt my mindset shift, and it went like this into that childlike resonance, that childlike safety. Instantly, I felt that. And when you feel that, I want you to know you can choose to do that at any point during your day, anytime, anywhere. In fact, you can exist from that state. You can exist in that state of fearlessness. You can exist in that state of unconditional love. You can exist in that state of safety that you have already within you. And that's a big thing that I've been learning, is that nothing outside of me can really dictate what's in here. Everything in here, inside here, in this noggin that I call my brain, anything in there is in there. Everything outside of me, and people might, you can challenge me on this too, and that's okay because everybody has what works for them. But from my experience, I have to say, like, you can be in some pretty uncomfortable situations and still be comfortable. So, how do we tune that to that state of being where you're not uncomfortable? It's something that's already within you. And like I said, it's not going to be hypnosis per se. I'd say like something like neurolinguistic programming is probably more along the lines, but and I studied that, and the first thing I want to say about that is, like, it's valid, but I think there's definitely more of a quantum principle going on here, because I think all these states, they're already within you, and that memory that I had from being a kid when I was younger, it already existed. It already exists. It exists within me. In fact, every possible belief that I can think of already exists within here. And, what it comes down to is, like, that state of being, if I attach that to something outside of me, it can affect the beliefs I have about the state of being that I'm in the present moment. So if I start my day off where I spill water and I believe the whole day is going to go bad because I spilled water, I created that. I created that from an event that happened. So there's no victim mentality. I can't blame anything or anyone outside of me, not even my dog who's just barking, who woke me up. God freaking bless him. He woke me up. But nothing outside of me can ever change what's in here. Everything within me, every belief, those states of being, of fearlessness, of unconditional love, all of it exists up here. It exists within me. So I guess the thing that and a lot of people are probably gonna ask, we might, if you see this video, you might be asking like, how do you tune to that state of being, especially if everything feels so scattered, or if you have that mindset where you're constantly thinking here and here and here. There's things you can do like meditations that you can do, techniques that you can practice that can kind of think of that. It's like target practice in a way. And it might not always be like that, but when you look at it, it's like target practice in a way where the state of being when you're scattered, it's like you want it to be here and then you want it to be here. And it's like the way you want to feel, it's like up here and you might be trying to reach it and you might just get there and then it goes, and it might get there and just goes, and it might feel like a battle, but let me tell you, like, a lot of these things are just beliefs. And if you can get to the root cause of what's making you believe what you feel is real outside of you, and you can tune your resonant state from within, you're going to step into a superpower, a resonant superpower that is, yeah, there are just some things that perhaps we're just starting to learn. So